Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
There was a congressional hearing. They dragged out Cheatle. She clearly did not want to be there. And she was asked a whole bunch of questions about the obvious failure of that moment 9 days ago.
Can you answer why the Secret Service didn't place a single agent on the roof?
We are still looking into the advanced process and the decisions that were made.
Okay. Wasn't that building within the perimeter that should be secured? Do we agree with that?
The building was outside of the perimeter on the day of the visit. But again, that is one of the things that during the investigation we want to take a look at and determine whether or not other decisions should have been made.
Okay, so it's really extraordinary what's going on here. The roof, we now know the roof was, what was it, 140 meters away, something like that? Like, it's just completely crazy. You've all seen the still pictures and the videos and everything else. This is the same woman that a few days ago was saying that the reason they didn't have someone on the roof was because the roof was sloped. The roof is barely sloped. We'll show you some evidence of that. It's not an A-frame roof, right? We've all seen an A-frame barn. It's not. It was a slightly sloped roof that anyone could get on. But she continued. I mean, this testimony was utterly embarrassing, and she should have resigned right in the middle of it, although we've got an update just in the last 20 minutes or so that we'll give you in a moment. But here she is telling Marjorie Taylor Greene that she just doesn't have specifics as it relates really to what happened. There's just no, she's trying very hard, but you know, what does she have, paper or something?
Drone over the area, period. Any part of the area.
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event.
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline that do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job.
You know, they laughed. You hear them laughing in the background. I have a timeline that doesn't include specifics. That is word salad. That is meaningless drivel. Think about it. We're 9 days later. There has to be a timeline. Someone needed to print out a timeline. When did we first see him? Oh, there's a shady character over there. They know that that happened about an hour before the event. Oh, there were several people pointing that there's someone on the roof with a gun. That happened a few minutes before the shooting. Do we have a timeline of when the sniper who ultimately shot the guy just as he shot Donald Trump, when did he actually see him climb on the roof? And why didn't he shoot him immediately when he saw someone fiddling with a gun? There's so many things that we should have answers for, but we have answers for none of them. And she dares, she's the perfect, the thing is, she's the perfect woke diversity hire. That is the point. Why is this woman qualified to be the head of the Secret Service? Well, she's not, and it became bipartisan. This is the sort of beauty. This one is so obvious and so ridiculous, and we should so not let it go, that it started becoming bipartisan, which is almost never something that occurs anymore in the government. But it wasn't just Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene that were going after Cheatle. It was also Democrats like Khanna. Here he is demanding that she resign.
Would you agree that this is the most serious security lapse since President Reagan was shot in 1981 of the Secret Service?
Yes, sir, I would.
And, do you know what Stuart Knight did when he was in charge at the time of the Secret Service? Do you know what he did afterwards?
He remained on duty.
He resigned. And Stuart Knight was not a Democratic appointee or a Republican appointee. Look, I'm not questioning your judgment. I just don't think this is partisan. If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign.
Look, I often think that bipartisanship is just sort of nonsense because it usually just means that they're working together to screw all of us. But in this case, Khanna is completely right. The buck has to stop with somebody. Part of what the machine has done is hired so many incompetent people across divisions that nobody ever feels that they're the one that the buck should stop with. Nobody's ever like, oh, that actually was my fault, because everyone is basically incompetent. It's a confederacy of dunces. But let's just go a little bit further, because he's basically saying you've got to sit down. Here is Republican Nancy Mace telling Kim Cheatle, well, I'll let her use the choice language on this one. I'm not going to say the word because she's going to do it herself.
My first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question, yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure, yes or no?
Yes.
Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or
I
no?
will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Yeah, she is full of well, there, I said it too. Stay right there, people, because the only one of its kind, this prescription Contagion Emergency Kit from the Wellness Company, provides you with a carefully selected assortment of effective medications for bird flu, COVID-19, and other respiratory illnesses. Ivermectin, HCQ, Z-Pak, Tamiflu, and budesonide, along with a nebulizer. So you can rest easy knowing that you have emergency meds on hand, along with a guidebook for safe use. Backed by research from experts like Dr. Peter McCullough, the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit is a must-have. Order today at twc.health/Rubin. Code Rubin saves you 15% at checkout with the Wellness Company.